Yeah. Yeah.
Stay focused, no distractions, and grind. Stay focused, no distractions, and grind. There are only two types of Americans. Those who live in New York and those who wish they could. I love that song. Good to see some of you. Have a packed room. It's an indication that you miss me. We're clear on our mission. That's why we put up those 3 points over and over again. We're going to make the city a place to raise family. And today, we announced that thanks to the successful strategies we put in place in New York City, because of probably the largest humanitarian crisis the city has ever experienced, we are announcing that the Roosevelt Hotel, which has served as both our asylum arrival center and a humanitarian emergency response and relief center for nearly 2 years, will be closing in the coming months. The Roosevelt Hotel opened May 2023 during the height of the crisis, when we were receiving 4,000 people a week. You just gotta really think about that. 4,000 people a week. And thanks to our policies, we're down to an average of just 350 new arrivals. These were policies we put in place on how we should alter what happens at the border, what we can do here to transition out, those 30 and 60-day programs we put in place that critics were criticizing, but it allowed us to get over 180,000 people out of our care and off taxpayers' payroll. And over the 223,000 migrants that entered went through a well-organized process of getting them through the system and processing almost 75% of individuals that came into our care. And now, thanks to the sound policy, really hats off to Deputy Mayor Williams Isom, Chief of Staff Camille Joseph Balla, Molly.
That they were supposed to be there until April or May. They don't know if they're going to be thrown out to the streets or what is going to happen.
We're going to fulfill our promise. If April and May, they will have locations. If it's not there, it'll be somewhere. Those who get the 30 and 60-day notifications, we're going to fulfill that.
Mr. Mayor, I have two questions.
Yes, Marsha.
The first one has to do with the closing of Roosevelt Hotel. But I'm wondering if you think that the drop in the number of people who are going to the Roosevelt Hotel as an intake center is in any way relation to the fact that we have new immigration policies enacted by President Trump, and that people don't want to just come to the United States anymore because of what's happening?
Well, I think it's a combination. We started to see decreases in numbers prior to the incoming president. You started to see decrease in numbers. There were some alterations being made at the border. This is what we called for and advocated for, and the American people have communicated we need to secure our border. And so I think it's a combination. There were many rivers that were feeding the humanitarian crisis, and this was one of them that we advocated for. We're going to continue to advocate for. There's nothing humane about having individuals into the country with no place to go, no sponsors here, no ability to take care of themselves, and pushing the cost of it onto cities. It's just wrong. And so we saw 7 straight months of decline long before the president came into office. And we believe it's a combination of what we have done here and some changes at the borders.
So my next question has to do with a new poll about the mayor's race, which has Andrew Cuomo far and away ahead, open in the first round 36% to only 15% for you, Scott Stringer the second. But when it plays out over ranked choice voting, he wins with 63% of the vote. Your reaction to that?
This is early. This is I like to say this is using a sports analogy. This is the season. The playoff starts. Once petitions are actually completed. There's a lot of time to June. As I talked to before, Andrew Yang leading me by double digits. In February, we saw what happened. We're not calling Andrew Yang mayor. We're saying Eric Adams is mayor. And so things happen in mail race. People come in, people get out, things happen, stuff pops up. That's just the reality of this game. And so it's almost impossible when I think about it, going to Floyd Bennett Field, going over to Randall's Island, looking at these locations and remembering in the midst of this crisis. And we're helping asylum seekers take the next steps in their journeys, and we're seeing taxpayers in New York we're saving taxpayers in New York millions of dollars. And so really hats off to the team. Public safety, Community Link, we were proud to continue our process of making sure our city is safe. When you think of 20,000 illegal guns were removed off our streets since this administration started. But as I said many times, public safety is a prerequisite to prosperity. It requires close collaboration among many agencies and outside partners in every community to ensure this. And we unveiled our taking place right now in the city council around the gang database. And just believe that it's important that we can't be so idealistic that we're not realistic. We do have gangs in our city, and some of them are extremely dangerous, and some of them are repeated offenders, and many of them prey on innocent people in their communities. And I know people say that close to 96% of the people in the database are people of color. Well, you know, there's a number that they leave out. 96% of the victims of shootings in the city are people of color. Let's keep them in mind as we look to identify those who are participating in this dangerous violence. If we're not doing a one-size-sided approach, we also have put in place for justice involved young people ways to have a pathway out of gang. We put millions of dollars in the crisis management team. But one of the biggest problems you have with gangs is the problem of retaliatory shootings. That is stopping those. Make sure that we are in compliance, and those discussions are still going on. And those are discussions I'm having with our legal team, but I'm not going to go into those private discussions. That's why it's attorney-client privilege.
Ethan?
Mr. Mayor.
What's happening?
I'm okay, how are you?
Good.
So the governor last week proposed these new guardrails for your administration. I guess, first of all, what's your reaction to that? And then also, how does that affect your relationship with her? You've had a good working relationship with the governor. Does this say she's no longer confident in your leadership?
No, we have not had a good relationship. We've had a great relationship. Every time I called on the governor, she was there. Subway safety plans, we needed another $1 billion to get past the city of yes. What we've done around public safety to continue unprecedented decrease in crime. She helped us get retain control of the schools. She helped our housing plan. I can go down the list over and over and over again. I stated there's no legal reason to do this because some of what she's asking, it must pass a law. And if you have to pass the law, that means right now it's not legally in place. And so the governor must make her decision to govern the state. I must make the decision to govern the city. There's going to be things we're going to agree on. There's going to be things we're going to disagree on. But we're going to come together and understand that we need to make this a safe place for children and families.
Hannah?
Mayor Adams, in regards to migrant arrivals slowing down, is the city going to phase out its contract with the New York Hotel Association? And then going off, will you all phase out your contract with the New York Hotel Association? And then going off of that, what will it take for you and your administration to declare the migrant crisis is over?
We're going to continue, the team is continuing to speak with all of the providers, the contracts, all of the entities that are involved. The team will handle that. Deputy Mayor Williams Ison, Camille, the whole team would do that. I have a great deal of confidence for them. And that's a great question on what it's going to take to declare the migrant crisis is actually over. I think that we're going to, we need a substantial number. We still have a substantial number of people still in. That's almost equivalent to our normal homeless population. And the goal is to get every family, individual out of our care to determine that, number one, the border crisis is under control. We've seen a substantial decrease at the border. And those who are arriving in the city, but we're still getting about 300. That's a substantial number of people. So I would have to really think about how do we designated as being over. I don't want to be premature and say mission accomplished until we accomplish the mission. And let the team tell me, Eric, we feel we're at the right place.
David?
Hi, Mr.
What's
Mayor.
happening? How are you?
Good, nice to see you.
Good.
So you mentioned Deputy Mayor Williams-Isom a couple of times already. She is one of the deputy mayors who is resigning. So how is that going to affect the path going forward as far as closing these migrant shelters? She's been pretty important in that regard, right?
Listen, I want to be real clear. Hate seeing them going, leaving, love them, and I'm pretty sure, as I stated before, you put a microphone in their faces, they say the same thing. What's good about this city, and particularly this administration, our bench is deep. We have great people identified already to take their places, and all of them would tell you, as great as they are and as great as I may think I am, it is the team that will actually make it happen. And those team members are still in place. They understand how you move these pieces around, and we're going to continue to work. That's what's great about this city. No matter what happens, you have deep people on your bench, and you have deep people in the city that's willing to step up. I don't have a shortage of New Yorkers and people in the administration that are saying, hey, we would like to continue the work that we're doing.
Henry?
Hi, Mayor. How you doing, sir?
What's happening?
Hey, I was just with Congressman Torres, and I'm sure you saw the news that he sort of pre-endorsed Andrew Cuomo, even though he's not in the race. And I was kind of pushing him on why he would do this now, and he made a point that I wanted to get your response to, if I could. He said, I'm reflecting the will of my people, which is to say black and brown working class people in the South Bronx. So are you concerned that you've lost the faith of the people, as the congressman is implying?
Well, Congressman Torres also called for the former governor to step down. I don't know what happened differently now. And when I go up to the Bronx, I see the will of the people embracing my working class agenda, from returning $30 billion back into their pockets to dealing with crime and public safety and so many other issues. Campaign is going to take care of itself. This is all the craziness of the campaign season, and my job is to run the city, and I'm going to continue to do that.
Thank you.
So Jay, how are
Yes,
you?
sir. Well, thank you.
Good.
You've been able to reduce the number of migrants coming is reduced by over 90% now, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
You've still got, 300 to 400 are coming in every week.
Yes.
What do you propose to do about those migrants that are coming in now? How will they be handled?
Same process. We will have some form of intake, some form of way of placing them back, place them on their feet so that they can participate in the pursuit of the American dream. We're hoping that we will continue to secure the border to bring that number down even more. But we're going to do the same process that we've always done to help individuals. Even before the migrants and asylum seekers, those who were new arrivals to the city, documented or undocumented, you were encouraged to educate your children. We don't allow children to be in our city without going through education. You were allowed to go to the hospital if you needed medical care. You were a victim of a crime. We encourage you to use the police to report it. So nothing changes. The same methodologies that we used prior to the crisis are still in place. There's still agencies that are in place to help people who are in need of help in the city, and that is not going to change.
And if they're arriving here, sir, believing that this is a sanctuary city, should they feel protected?
The city is a sanctuary city. That's what the law requires for us. So they should believe that is the case. But I cannot be any clearer. If you come here thinking you're going to commit a violent crime, this is not the place for you.
Timmy?
Hey, Mr. Mayor.
How are you?
Good, how are you? I saw this morning you were at the Ukrainian flag raising and you talked about the terror that Ukraine has endured the past few years. I'm curious, you called New York the key of America. Do you believe Vladimir Zelensky is a dictator?
I wasn't at the flag raising. I was at the funeral today for a fallen member of the Department of Sanitation, New York's strongest. I don't have an opinion on who he is or who he's not. I have a large Ukrainian population here in the city. I have a large Russian-speaking population here in the city. and I try my best. I'm not always successful at doing it, but I try my best to not to allow the international politics to impact on those who are here in the city. And I must stand up and represent those who are Ukrainian descent and those who are Russian-speaking descent to make sure that they feel that the city is going to be there for them. When the Ukrainian refugees came here, we allocated a substantial amount of money for them in their transition, and I'm going to continue to do that. And so I'm going to show the local diaspora here in the city that they are welcome here, like all the flag races that I do, you know, and I'm going to continue to do that.
Mark?
Hey, Mr. Mayor.
What's going on, Mark? How are you?
Good, how you doing?
Good.
Just a couple of questions. First about the executive order. One of you had talked about what the borders are at Tom Roman. Can you give us a few details about that? When you plan on signing this into order, what you plan on actually doing, and what that will actually entail? Will it just be about putting ICE inside Rikers, or will that include anything else? The second one I wanted to ask,
Go ahead.
Could you address this impression that the White House and that Tom Homan are telling you what to do? You know, we saw the Fox News interview, and that was pretty ugly the way he was saying he was going to be off your butt if this didn't happen. So could you address this perception by what everybody has about this relationship between the White House?
First, the court counsel and our legal team is dealing with the EO and how that's going to be handled. Tom made it clear, prior to coming on camera, he and I were ribbing each other, joking with each other, and he made it clear that he was joking. You know, people want to grasp onto things and make it more than it is. That's just the universe we're in. You know, everything you say, like I've been saying this for a long time, the word police want to just exploit it. I am in alignment with whatever we have to do legally to keep our city safe. And what I really find fascinating is everyone has been saying over and over again, okay, Eric, you've changed your policies, you changed the way you think about this. Go back and look at what I've been saying. Point out what I've been saying then, pre-election, and what I'm saying now, and tell me what is the difference between the two. No one's able to find that. I've been talking about, you know, the whole illegal gangs. I've been talking about they should not be in the city. This is the same thing I've been saying. And so if there's something I'm saying now that I didn't say then, I just need to know what it is, because it's not. They are helping me with the agenda that I stated the previous administration should have been helping me with. And I thank them for helping me with it.
Josie?
Hi,
How are you? Good.
I'm wondering if you see it as helping your administration in the city to remove the $80 million. How do you make sense of those two that took that money from the city and somehow are also helping you with the migrant situation? And then I think you said you have selected people to fill those DM roles.
Yes.
Can you clarify on that?
Yeah, okay, first, we believe the money that was committed from the previous administration, we are entitled to, and that's why the Corporation Council did the lawsuit because of that. We believe that we deserve more. Now, what is the difference between what we're doing and others? How many lawsuits did the controller, the public advocate, the speaker, how many did they do when the previous administration took $7 billion from us? How many? None. You cannot stand up when it's a president that you like. You have to be consistent in fighting on behalf of New Yorkers. They did not criticize the White House one time when we were being inundated with migrants and asylum seekers. They were silent. They said nothing. They didn't bring about any legal challenges. They did nothing at all.
They can't bring legal challenges.
No, yes they can. They got one. Let me give you one for example. I wasn't in support of appealing the decision over non-citizen voting. I was not in support of that. They were in support of that. They got an outside counsel to represent them, and that counsel can't speak with me. So they can go to the Corporation Council. The Corporation Council doesn't work for the mayor. The Corporation Council works for the city of New York. So they could have brought a legal champion. Don't let them lie to you.
Matt, in the back?
Did you just
About the deputy mayors.
GM?
Oh.
Mr. Mayor,
There was a
to
question
do
on the
that,
deputy
my
mayor.
second question.
Yeah,
on
yeah, I'm
the
sorry,
deputy
what was the
mayor.
question?
You said you filled those roles, is that true? And
We,
what do you focus on?
we said this 1,000 times. When it's time to make announcements, we will make those announcements. And so when it's time for us to make the announcement, we will make those announcements. We don't have any vacant positions right now in our administration. The amazing GMs are saying we're here to have a smooth transition. You know, so we're going to continue to do that. So when it's time to make the announcement, we're going to stand up here. They're going to be to the right of me. They're going to be to the left of me, and I'm going to say, here are my new DMs. And you know, just want to circle back to the statement that you made. Those citywide electeds, the public advocate, the speaker, the controller, they have attorney-client privilege, like I have attorney-client privilege.
Mac in the back.
Hey, Mayor.
Yes.
So the governor had said early last week she was worried about the future of this administration. She was having meetings with several people to decide what to do and then propose these guardrails. Were you, during that period, concerned that she might remove you? And then with the guardrails, have you looked at the details of what she's proposing, and do you worry that it might limit your power?
No. I'll peel them apart. Well, two no's. No, I wasn't concerned about being removed because I knew I did nothing wrong. And you have to, all of you have to ask yourselves that there was this call from a lot of people who are running for office, and some others on the fringes, and many who have criticized our policies for years, remove them. Why? I mean, did anyone ask the question why? I mean, like, was he convicted? Was he convicted of something? Did he do something new? Like, what was the reason? If you were to ask people why, well, because we believe he may be under this or under that. That is not how you circumvent the power of the people who elected me based on your perception and belief. No one could say, when I spoke to some of my colleagues, I was like, why are you calling for this? Like, what is the reason? Well, because they're putting forward the possibility of dismissing your charges. That's a reason to take away the mayor of the largest city in America? If that's the standard, we are all in trouble. If you can bypass the will of the people based on what people don't like of an action, that's not democracy. And it's amazing those who call themselves so democratic is leading the charge that a mayor that wasn't convicted of anything, a mayor that was doing the job, moving the city forward, it's not like we failed in moving the city forward. They are saying, we need to remove him. But why? And then those who are calling are going to take my spot. Come on. This becomes almost comical when you think about it.
Melissa, Ethan, you had a question. Melissa, go
I'm
ahead.
just pointing out, Andrea,
Melissa, go ahead. Let's give Jennifer a quick call.
Hi, Mr. Mayor.
See you later, Marcia.
She had enough.
Oh, somebody was saying, how are you?
How are you?
Yes.
So can I just clarify, I want to make sure I heard your answer to, I think it was Emma's question correctly.
Yes.
Did you say you are having discussions about the possibility of recusing yourself from immigration matters? And if that's the case, do you feel that the Justice Department would still have reason to hold off on the charges? Because they've said that the charges in part are keeping you from being able to carry out their immigration agenda? That's my first question.
Yeah, the first question, no, I did not say that. I stated that the team are looking at everything we can to continue to govern the city. And whatever conversation I have with our council, I don't go into private conversations.
So you're not discussing?
I answered that.
Okay, all right, and then I guess the other question was just, you sort of touched on this before I was gonna ask it. But I think some people are wondering why you were so much more vocal criticizing President Biden than you are now, even when President Trump seems to do things that, knowing you as long as you do, even though some of the things you're saying are totally consistent and you've said them before, there are some times where you've opted to pull punches against Trump.
You know, one day I want to meet some people. You know, because that's like this fictitious group of people that I never bumped into on the street. You know, some people. 10 months, 10 trips to Washington I did to sit down with the previous administration. 10 trips. and constantly told them how important it is. On one of those trips, I was told that this is like a gallstone. It's gonna hurt, but it'll pass. I said, well, maybe you wanna pass it. You know, so 10 trips, you know, 10 trips. And so after 10 trips, after watching thousands of people come in here, I was consistent. And so it didn't make a difference to me if the president was Democrat or Republican. I was fighting for New Yorkers. And I said to you previously, we put up a chart. Many of you don't realize the long-term impact of losing $7 billion. The long-term impact is going to impact this city for generations to come. For generations to come. And what many of you, I will hope, is to say you're voicing your advocacy now. Where were you when we were getting 4,000 migrants and asylum seekers to the city a week? Where were they? I couldn't get them to join me at a press conference. I couldn't get them to take a trip to Washington, D.C. with me. Where were they? And now they've found their voices. That's just, we gotta ask, just as you ask me these tough questions, we have to ask them the same tough questions. Where were you under the previous administration when we lost $7 billion and the citywide electors asking for money we were asking for work authorization. We asked them to join us. They were not there. The speaker and public advocate even agreed to stand with us, but the controller decided he wasn't going to do that. Like, we can't have amnesia. While we were going through a crisis under the previous administration, these leaders were not here, and we called them on them over and over again. You need to be standing with us to fight what the previous administration did.
Nick?
Hi, Mr. Mayor.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good.
A couple of questions. First, just to clarify what you've been saying about this $80 million, seizure. Do you view that as illegal, or are you saying it's in some way comparable to something the previous administration did? And my second question, in terms of some of the sort of rhetoric we've been hearing from your legal team these last few weeks, I know you've been very clear since your indictment that you say you're staying focused, that the city's business is continuing on as usual. But your lawyers have really been saying, it feels like close to the opposite, that they say, these charges need to be dropped because they are so badly interfering with the mayor's work. A letter was unsealed a few days ago that Alex Spiro had sent to the Justice Department where he said the mayor's political partners are hesitant to continue working with him. It's difficult to retain talented staff. Business and community leaders are reluctant to engage with City Hall. So which is it? Are you staying focused and continuing the work, or are things in crisis?
And that's a fair question. Carrying out your job, you have to still do it, but it doesn't mean if there are issues in the way, it doesn't make it more challenging. Like, I still have to keep us safe, but not being able to coordinate with my federal partners and have the security clearance for sensitive information impacts. And so, yes, we've done it. We were able to do the housing. We were able to get City of Yes. We were able to get our partners to get our budgets passed. Yes, we've done that, but don't believe it wasn't hard. It is easier to do your job without these issues in the way. So yes, it was hard, but we got it done in spite of it, not because of it.
And the first question on $80 million, do you view that as illegal, or is it somehow comparable to something?
Well, I think that we earned the money, we went through a reimbursement system, and that the Corporate Council is put in place a lawsuit to put our arguments in the court. And I don't want to jeopardize the terminologies or what my opinion is on it. Let the Corp Council do their job and make a determination. I believe we deserve that $80 million.
Courtney. Mr. Mayor, good to see you.
Good, always. How are you?
I'm fine. As we know, petitioning starts this week.
I'm sorry?
Petitioning starts this week.
Yes.
Can you say definitively, we know that you don't want to step down, you won't resign, but can you say definitively, without question, that you are going to run for re-election? That's the first question. And then second question, different topic. Back in December, you said the Court Council was going to be reviewing sanctuary city laws and determining what exactly you could do to change it. What's the status of that, and what will be the proposal? Are we going to see one? And have you talked to Tom Homan, the Borders are, about that proposal?
First, yes, I'm running. Petitions will be in the street, so please, if you see one with my name on it, please sign it. Any conversations around policies that we're going to roll out, when it's time to announce it, we'll announce it. I'm not going to get ahead of the court.
Jen. Mr.
How are you?
Good, thank you. About your comment you were saying about how the case has impeded your ability to work with federal authorities on various matters because of the security clearance. Can you tell us any more about that? What is it we haven't done?
That's best to speak with my counsel, Alex. What's going on? How you doing? Good.
I wanted to talk about this consistent message that you were talking about. And I know one of the things you talked about very early on was giving undocumented immigrants work permits. And I was wondering, are you going to still push that message with the Trump administration? And have you been able, are you confident that they can make some headway on this? You know, many industries, especially in New York City, rely on immigrant labor, and this would be very beneficial to the city's economy.
I agree with you. We fought when others were signing. We fought for TPS. We organized with the unions. We organized with the private industry. We thought it was important, and you're right, our economy depended on those workers, and so we're going to continue to advocate for that.
Hi, Mayor Adams. 2 questions.
What's going on? Yes.
The first is actually relating to your campaign. When can we see a website? Are you reopening your campaign Twitter account? Because there hasn't been much action on that front. My second question is, you repeatedly say that you've done nothing wrong, yet at least 7 career prosecutors resigned rather than drop the case against you because they said it would be unethical to do so. It sends a message that they believe the case against you was so strong, they're willing to lose their jobs instead of just dropping it. Can you, how should the public square that? Because I think they see these high profile resignations, and for someone to quit their job in this economy, they must feel very strongly in the case against you. So how should the public view the actions that they've taken?
Well, first of all, I disagree with you. I'm seeing people quit jobs all over for whatever number of reasons.
Just of this administration,
right, exactly. You know, a couple of people in the news industry as well, since they're not still getting the money from USA. You know, so.
Like who's? I don't know who.
Okay. I don't either. So speak with Alex, my attorney. He'll answer that question for you.
Chris, do you want to answer about the campaign we haven't seen?
Yeah. My campaign team is going to be doing so. I'm not going into campaign issues, but trust me, you want to see a website up, petitions in the street.
Chris? Hi, Mr. Mayor.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
So last week, the Department of Investigation released a report about how your former public advisor, safety advisor, Pearson, and it said that he shoved a male security officer, shoved a female security officer to Roosevelt, and then 2 guards got them to March arrested. So I was curious, what's your reaction to the report? And now that the report is out, do you feel like Pearson should not have been given so much power in City Hall, given that he appears to have used it?
I'm sorry, say this probably.
The questions? What's your reaction to the report? And now that the report is out, do you feel like Pearson should not have been given so much power in City Hall, given that he appears to have used it?
I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I know Tim to be an optimal professional. He's no longer with the administration. We're going to review the report.
Morgan? Hi, Mr. Mayor.
How are you? Good.
Good, thank you. Just a quick follow-up here on the executive order. Considering it's being done, or looked at least, to have ICE at Rikers with the Corporation Council, is that something that City Hall is involved in? Is the speaker involved in talks about how to change this? And then a follow-up with the Roosevelt Hotel closing. Is there a contingency plan in case there are like an increased number of migrants arriving in the city? Or are you confident there's not going to be what we saw earlier with 4,000 arriving a day with the Trump administration?
My counsel here communicates with the Corp Council, and she's going to continue to do that, but the Corp Council is handling that, and my counsel is coordinating with them whatever way is necessary. We're hoping that the items that this administration is putting in place at the borders, we're hoping that it will have a major impact to slow the flow, because no cities should have to handle this. Chicago, Denver, you're looking at Boston, New York, Washington, Houston, we should not have to carry a federal problem. And the American people spoke loudly and clearly that we need to fix our border and fix our immigration problem.
Two more, Nick.
Hi, Mr. Mayor.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good.
To the other Nick's question, it sounded like you were basically saying that it's been more difficult, but you've basically been able to continue to do your job for New Yorkers, and that your ability to govern and keep people safe hasn't been impacted. So I just wanted to make sure the lives of New Yorkers have not been endangered in any way over this period of time by your security clearance or any other aspect of the prosecution.
I'm going to be real clear on this, that I would never do anything that's going to endanger the lives of New Yorkers, but it has been hard. It has been hard. And when it comes down to public safety, when it comes down to federal coordination, when it comes down to addressing all of the threats that the city must deal with, we shouldn't do anything that is unnecessarily hard. And that's where we were. But let's be clear, crime is down, jobs are up, it's the safest big city in America, and we shouldn't do anything that's going to impede on that.
Last question, Moses, did I see your hand up?
Sure, I'll go. I have two quick questions. Brad Vander recently did an interview where he said that New Yorkers need an honest and effective mayor who's working for a more affordable city. Do you have a response to his statement?
No.
Okay. And then under your socials on Twitter, there's been a lack of support. I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, you said Twitter?
Yeah, my second question is, under your socials on Twitter, there's been a lack of support for the Palestinian community in New York. Will you continue this during your re-election campaign?
I find it troubling that those who have been silent on Muslims, Palestinian, and other issues are now finding their voice. If you go back almost 20 years, in 2021, 2001, I'm sorry, when a large number of those from the Muslim community, Pakistan in general, was being removed off of Coney Island Avenue, I stood with them. When there were fights in the Senate with Greg Wall and his Islamophobia posture, I stood loud with the Muslim community. There's been a history of my representation and support, not only for the Palestinian community specifically, but for the Muslim community. And so those people who want to create the new narrative of who I am, I know who I am. And the beauty is, there's just this rich body of data that shows my consistency. The rich body of data of fighting on behalf of people is just out there. All one has to do is go look at it. I can't recreate my past. My past is there. It's well documented. When others were silent, I stood up. I stood up for just about every group in this city during difficult times. And so, tweeting about his Islamophobia acts multiple times this weekend, we've done that. But more importantly, we stood up for the communities. But what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to celebrate a terrorist leader that has brought destruction. I'm not going to do that. And so my Palestinian brothers and sisters, Pakistani, Jewish brothers and sisters, Sikh, Christian brothers and sisters, my record is clear. It's a solid record that I don't think a lot of people that are on the political stage right now can stand up to.
Thank you guys.
What exactly are you saying is illegal about Governor Hochul?